Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and does not rule for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Good morning. How's it going? Have GDP today. Let's look at the charts. We are pretty much exactly where we were. I wonder. I was just thinking. I was saying to myself, I should give a better intro on videos so if somebody's new, they know what's going on here. Welcome, I'm Speculator Seth, live day trading, financial, and political analysis. Yesterday, we had a pretty strong move down in the Treasuries, based on comments from the ECB. And it sounds like central banks may not be quite as dovish as some people in the market hoped. I'm kind of eyeing this 127 level down here in the 10-year. That looks mighty enticing. I wonder if we come over here and we look at 127. Well, there's a few orders there at 127. 4,500. 4,800 at 31.5. I don't know. I think we have a high probability of visiting that sometime in the next week. But it depends on what GDP says, right? Anyways, so there's the yen. E-mini also took a hit, but I think it was overdone. Overall, the trend still looks okay in the E-mini. I mean, we are at all-time highs, so a little bit of a pullback. No big deal. Treasuries, though, I don't know. That might be the start of a new trend. We shall see. We shall see. And the initial move that we've had so far, they did buy it, but it didn't go anywhere. I wouldn't expect them to be moving it too much because we got the GDP forecast coming up. This is advanced GDP quarter over quarter, and we are looking for a reading of 1.8. We're also looking for a price index of 4.0, which is pretty high for what it is. Anyways, that is really high for what it is. Because the previous reading was 0.9. By the way, the previous GDP was 3.1. 3% is good. 3% growth quarter over quarter is good. 1.8, not so good. I actually suspect, based on all of the economic numbers that we've gotten this week, I wouldn't be surprised if that number came in like maybe 2% or higher, 2.2, something like that. Also, while we have pretty much just ranged since the big move yesterday in Treasuries, the swings that we are getting here are actually pretty good. We are seeing some 8 and 10 tick swings. Last one was 4. 4 tick swings, not very good. Okay, so Uzi, I'm going to put his levels in here today. Oh, why did I start that thing twice? Okay. Let's make sure we load these all up first. We get all of our previous day's readings. No? Did it not load it? It didn't load. Load. Okay. It says it loaded it. I think that my ZN chart here. Wait a second. I have load levels on this one, right? No, it's not on this one. It's on this one. Indicators. Export levels. Let's just like refresh this chart. Okay. There we go. Ninja Traders being silly today. Load. Okay, so he says it's just yesterday's high and low value area. Okay, but I don't have those on my chart, so I do want to put that on there. 27, I'm just going to put an X, and 23. Wow, 23? Okay, that's previous low. That one we can keep. Okay. Well, I was actually thinking maybe we could try trading this today. What do you think? Because, next week's news done looked so great. I take it back. We got FOMC next week. I forgot. And non-farm. I don't know. I guess we'll watch it one more time. But we got 4 minutes, and I'm thinking let's rearrange our workspace. What do you think? I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to save it. And what I want to do is I want the DOMs on top. Because I'm noticing I'm always looking down, and I want to look up. Not only will it look better for you guys, but I think it might, change my outlook on life for looking up. I know that seems probably silly, but I think that having these on bottom and these on top, I think would be great. So I'm going to do it. Yeah? What do you think? Is that weird? It looks weird, doesn't it? It's so weird. Oh, it's funny. Then now the hard one. Move the error window and this down here. And all of these. This down here. It's okay, you can see the name of my sim account. Okay. Let's see here. What's Susie saying? Oh, IQ thinks ZB should get to 0. Maybe. I look at it this way. Above the initial balance I want to buy, the only way I'd consider selling is if we get to that 154.27, flip the script below the initial balance, want to sell until we get to 153.23. Really, that's interesting. Okay, well, now that we got that, I'm going to move this down here. And this here. And hopefully that looks okay. I can probably move that out of the way for a second. I can get that just right. There. How's that? Not bad? Okay, maybe? Yes, no? Doesn't get much easier than that for context. Yeah, okay. I think that if this news comes in, anything above what they are predicting, that I want to sell the fuck out of this. It works, says Susie. All right. Well, they are selling it into the news. So here we go. Look at the pull. That is a pretty dramatic pull. They are selling. It's fighting. I haven't gotten the news yet. Hasn't hit Twitter. Okay, 2 spot 1. Hey, you saw that right there. Hmm. 24.5 is fighting a little bit too hard. I think it's going to keep going though. That was a lot of bids going up in there. Well, I said 120. I said below 127, didn't I? But we be careful. If I get a signal, then I want to get out. IQ says yummy. Right? I'm surprised that's not stacking up more. I think that should be like 5,000 by now. You know what? You know what pleases me the most about what just happened though? Is that I was 0.1 off from what the GDP actually ended up being. I mean, obviously a large part of that was a guess, but I just said, hey, all of the data has been good. It's going to be bigger than the estimate, and it was. Okay, so it flipped there without giving me a signal. And we're getting a 4-tick pullback right now. So just based on the swing, this is a spot that we could maybe look for another sell. Well, there's an iceberg there at 30. The 5-year matters a lot, though. This is a little bit different because I got to put my eyes in a different place. I think I would rather have the 10-year right here, but that's okay. I like it like this. Okay, yeah, so they overcame the iceberg there at 03, so that was a really good sell spot. But they're not just dipping out on this one. And what is they stacking here? At 02. So right here. This is kind of interesting. Well, we did get a little bit, I wouldn't call it a signal there at 02.5, but a little bit of an overextension. And now we're 1, 2 through it, and there was a gap at 03.5 as well. That was a very strong downtick. So 5-year just not quite doing it. Oh yeah, IQ wanted the 0, but you probably didn't get filled there yet. How did the E-mini react to this? Not very. Okay, so it is now doing it here. It is doing it right here. So let's blue 3/2. Uzi, why do you use range charts? Easy on the eyes. I have a 1 range chart and a 30-minute chart. I really like the 1 range charts on Treasuries. So we're going to say it's a downtrend, up, possibly a reversal. 3/2. Start on the 30-minute build battle plan, use 1 range in the DOM to dump entries. Yep. I think I need to get a better chart for the E-mini though. I'm using like a 610 tick, and that one's not doing it quite right. And I think that my little signal thing here, I think that part of what makes it do what it does is because it's based on range. And so I think that I need to move over to a range chart on the E-mini as well. Okay, well, I picked a really great spot, but they never gave me an exit signal. Now they're telling me here at 035 around to this area that they could turn. I see a little bit of liquidity above us. I can see that there is a lot more bid activity. Oh, I take that back. There's a lot more ask activity than there is bid activity. So I can't say what's really going on here. But I think that I just, we take these and we just do what the plan had set out. I'm willing to give this one another tick or two. No, but it shouldn't be hitting that. I'm a little surprised. I use 2000 T-chart on micro ES. So I'm thinking about using like a 4-point range, or not even a 4-point range, or maybe a 1-point range. Not for nothing, but that trade you made in ZN did work out. Yes and no, because it did not give me a clear exit, did it? And the thing is it's giving me, it gave me a signal here, but it was a reversal for 1, 2, 3, 4. Or it wasn't a reversal, it was a continuation for 4 and 1 is what we have to say. So it was very much not what I expected. To me, not going down anymore is a clear exit. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking that maybe at 0.2 I should have gotten out. But I really wanted to wait for another one of these things, you know? Well, we're getting another one right here. So let's say the trend is down. It's a trendy day. We were moving up. I think this might be a reversal. It is at 0.5. That's an iceberg there at '05. They got through that iceberg and lots hit at '04 half. I'm surprised that they ticked back up at '05 there after that. But it kind of looks like it's following the 5-year, and the 5-year has not ticked down yet. They're not 116 is not even going weak yet. So clearly some people caught offsides there in the 10-year that are maybe lucky that the 5-year was not ready to bust. To me, when you make these trades that go in your favor, a bunch of ticks in reverse on you, I think they're largely good trades. You just have a propensity to let them go back on you, which in fairness is easy to do. You know, Lord knows I've done it and still do it sometimes. Yeah, exactly. Well, and the whole thing comes down to, like, I don't think that I've ever had a complete exit plan, you know? Like an exit plan that would have saved me there would be that if it draws a dot on the swing chart, for instance, if it draws a chart on the swing chart, maybe I should think about getting out. Something that I look for is I look for like the really big iceberg catching on the bid down. Like if we were moving down and there was an iceberg on the bid, I would think about getting out. If I get one of these signals, I think about getting out. But that particular one, I guess there was that size at 01 half, but it did not really give me a clear exit signal. So I think based on my plan, and maybe we can change it a little bit, but I think that my plan states that I should have held it. I don't think that I should let it come all the way back and go through me. I think that I should have taken some on that and then be short again at 05 half is what I think would have been the right thing. The ZB met my sell criteria, but I didn't hit it because of the news, so I didn't get caught in the bounce back up. I'm a crappy news trader, so I sip my tea while it happens. Yeah. I like the news a little bit too much sometimes, I think. I mean, it's really easy to get whipsawed like that during news, right? Especially in a market like this where they're still only putting like 3,000 up. You know, if they were putting 5,000 at every level, that kind of a move back up would not happen, right? Overall, better data but limited upside move for USD so far should help underpin the greenback, though, but the jury remains out as the Fed second guessing continues. My subscribers know the levels I'm looking at, but it's rapidly becoming time for the weekend to start for me. Says Mike Patterson, retweeted by Live Squawk. It seems to me that this is all about the dollar, for sure. And although the JPY took a good dive there after the news, it was limited and it's retracing. And same with the 6E. And we got to remember that yesterday, after all of the chaos, the dollar strengthened. So that might be why our downside is being limited so much. I experienced it way too often in Forex. Forex scared me for life with news trading. Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Some of those gaps in Forex, because Forex is like, we draw a picture of Forex and it'd be like, whoop. And if you happen to catch that, then good for you. Take it and run. I think that my price at 04.5 was the news price, wasn't it? It was. We are basically right just below the news price. Uzi's like FX in a nutshell right there, right? Yeah. And I should add, this whole thing right here, you know what that is? That's your broker and the bank that they work with liquidating all of your orders. So you probably got stopped out before bloop happened. Okay, so now the 5-year is breaking. They're not falling down. It ticked back up. That's fucking crazy. It's curious to me that I'm still not seeing much participation from large orders. The moves that I am seeing on the level 2 though are literally on the inside bid and offer. So that's interesting. I look over at my screen and I see it and I'm down in the lower left corner and I'm like, that just looks so weird to me. If buyers break above 30.1725 before trading any lower, then anticipate 30.1850. But it sounds like the algo's bias is for the E-mini to move higher today, huh? Well, good GDP number is good for. By the way, did you guys see this? Ruth Bader Ginsburg defends Brett Kavanaugh, Neil Gorsuch as a very decent and very smart. Did she have like a live interview appearance? Like we actually saw her now? Hosted, she said Wednesday at an event in Washington, D.C., hosted by Duke Law as she answered questions from Neil Siegel. So, how much you want to bet that all of the conspiracy theorists just conveniently forget that they were ever saying that Ginsburg is actually dead or a vegetable right now? I don't know if this is actually going to move down now, guys. That is not the way that should have happened. The 5-year moved out and it didn't go down. Okay, well, that was a strong push right there. I was thinking about this from yesterday. So then it's funny because this happened at 128 and 04.5 yesterday, but there was somebody was trying to hold the market and you had a seller that was very aggressive. And it seems to me that if you got a seller that's aggressive and is going to take 2 ticks at a time, and you have a buyer that is passive and is trying to hold it, especially if it's tied to a news event like we had GDP, I think that the the bidder is extremely unlikely to hold. Now, I don't know if this is quite the same situation because while they did take 2 ticks there from 05.5, they're not aggressive at 04.5. Whereas that thing yesterday they were. But you could still potentially see a similar sort of a thing where if they break this, they could really slide down now. 06.5 is your initial bounce low for your house, so you have a room for an upside test, in my opinion. Okay. I feel like my stop is in a really bad spot. You know what I mean? But we did get, so we got a 10 tick. We got a 10 tick up. How much was that one to the down? 19. Ooh. I think that might be part of it too, as it seems like that people got advanced warning of the GDP and already took a bunch of the profit, you know? Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, but we certainly have to consider it. You notice we had the 10 tick pullback and then a 4 tick down and then a 4 tick up. And it might do more than 4. So that was a relatively aggressive bid right there. And they sold it. This feels to me like I have the right idea, but that I am like way behind. Yeah, fuck. I'm really surprised that I'm not seeing more large orders pushing this around. I have to pull that because if they do fill me at 05.5, then it's probably going to go lower. Which means that if I'm really anxious, I should be clicking out at 06. It's also interesting to me that the 10-year is basically pushed a step higher when the 5-year didn't. Yeah. Well, I think that we got to say that this one at 05.5 reversed for 2. 2 and 1. And then we never got anything, and now we're getting it at 06.5. Yeah, right there. Oops. Well, that kind of explains that if there's an iceberg there at 06. That's interesting that they're tepid. The buying back into it is tepid. That's a really big change. Hmm. And that 16 looks like it's going to tick down. Algo lover says short correct, but too low in the range, so stop bounce here. ZN 126.30 half target. 126? Man, okay. If they go, huh? All right, well. I think that this is a good short because, well, so the first one was just me picking the spot in the news based off of the level 2, mind you. So I really thought that I was going to get a signal down here, and we didn't. But I suppose that that's okay. So then the first real signal that we got was this one, and it was good for 2. Now we're getting this one, and this one is the golden signal that we were talking about yesterday, right? We came up high, and there's way more interest now. So that seems to suggest that they're willing to catch it here now. And that might be because the opening range low was 06 half. We always got to fight the if, right? So the problem I have with that one is how do you trade that particular setup? Would you sit down and say that number, if they regain a bid above the RTH open at 3017, for instance? So should it be that as soon as it hits 3017, I should buy it then? Or that's where I should be looking to buy it? You know what I mean? But you have to hold it, and we know that it can probe through it and then come back through, you know? It's like, I think it's really useful information, but it's only like half of the equation, and it seems like it's the other half of the equation that I seem to have such a hard time with sometimes. To me, this is definitely the signal, but does the 5-year actually want to drop? It might not matter. Let me present it a different way. It seems to me that the traders in the 10-year have significantly more interest in it at 06 now that it's reached here than they did at any other point. And that would tend to indicate lower, but they could just be dead wrong if the big banks decide to buy the dollar. Think about this. It's the hardest entry when we are thinking long, but the market trend is lower, or vice versa. Sure. Well, that's where I gotta say, when you're going against the trend, you're always getting a lower probability trade, right? So you have to see something. You have to have something that has a probability of stopping it. Okay, like this event that we had here at 06. That is something with a probability of stopping it. It does not look like that the sell is coming, folks. That tick up, I think, was disappointing. I mean, that was the 5-year pushing higher. It's amazing that they were able to push higher without coming up in volume, because there was a lot of selling going into the 16 trying to sell it down. Okay, well, back into the range for now. Doom bum 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 bum. I still got more bids than offers in the book, so I'm chilling here. Initial balance high at 11 would be a good spot for a short. But the buyers still seem willing to me. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I'm taking it in the right spot, but I'm. Hey guys, do you find markets activity a little erratic now? Yeah. It looks to me, Lucas, like we're being moved by the currencies. It at the moment, I don't think that the order flow is as dominant. We would need to see them, that 60 in particular, need to see that 60 in particular drop, and they're not doing it. They're buying the 60 over here right now. In fact, look at this. Look at the cumulative delta in the 60. Quite a bit of selling, and they're just absorbing it. So there's your uptick. Can make all the sense of the size traded at 05. Yeah. Okay. Well, so I'm going to say I think that the first one was a good trade, and we played it. We messed up. And then the second one was just wrong. So it's okay. I want to come over here to Twitter and post this. Do I really have to paste it into a freaking file in order to post it? Come on. Let's put this in a new thing for Twitter. Or maybe I should just post it in Discord. Let's try doing it like that. Copy link. Tweet. But when I do it like that, then you don't get the picture, so I don't like that. Deleted. Okay. Okay. So let's read what you guys are saying. Best entry into this trade lower was at 127.10 area, but it was probably seemed bullish or confusing at the time. I don't know. I wasn't watching. IQ, when ZB can't make it past 16, then rotation down and maybe extension to the 23-24 area. Okay. Lucas says, I couldn't make sense of all the signs traded at 05. That messed the usual range trading after breakout. As he says, shit happens. Now, Lucas, I think that your reading was correct. Just looking from my screen. If you look at, I'll make it big so it's easier to see. But when we come down, I'm looking for, okay, we come to a new price and there's higher interest, and that signals a potential reversal. I suppose if you put it right there, and now that we're at 07, it could still reverse potentially, but I'd say that we're off kilter with the swings. But it really looks to me, and especially when you look at the cumulative delta, the 10-year has been selling it through this whole range. So what's happening is the order flow is now what is dominating this instrument right now. Okay. So then I say, when something like that happens, then I always say, look to correlations. So what are the correlations that we see? Well, one of the correlations is the E-mini. E-mini didn't really move a whole lot, but it is moving in lockstep with the treasuries. So there's that. What about the currencies? Currencies didn't move very much either, but look at the volume. Do you see that volume there? See that big old honking short right there? They sold the euro to the tune of almost 10,000 contracts. Yeah, 10,000. They sold 10,000 contracts in the 6E, and it did not move down. Well, the Forex futures can, the cumulative delta doesn't necessarily move it, does it? But they sold it quite hard. So that says to me they want to buy dollars. They want to buy dollars, and that's why it's holding. Now, I don't know if that means that there's like tons of upside left in this. Okay. Well, from this signal right here, I suppose we still don't know. I guess I'm going to have to call it a continuation just because it only went 1 against. And it's gone basically 3 in favor. But I mean, and going from a more tactical, like short-term perspective, at 05 half, there was like an iceberg and they got through it. And there was even some like a really aggressive sellers and everything like that. And it was like the buyers never got trapped for some reason. So that just says to me that somebody really big wants dollars. The mysterious U.S. consumers spending like crazy on RVs is back. Huh, that's interesting. Another thing I guess I need to point out is that we really are not seeing participation from large orders. So, no. Hmm. Somebody on Twitter referred me to some other cryptocurrency people that they said I should share my chats with. But I'm not quite sure I understand why he tagged them. He did well on Twitter yesterday, though, so that's cool. I think we need to build our Twitter following. I've been looking at it. It seems to me that now notice that the downswings are still very small. Oh, there's some more upticks. My, oh my. Well, now what do you think? Now that we're above the opening range high in ZB, and we're above the opening range high in the 10-year, now it's buy time? Surprisingly enough, at this location, I am getting relatively low activity. Happening faster than I thought, says Uzi. That is really weird. Well, it took 6 there. The environment is good for buying, but not the exact location. Yeah. The funny thing is that when I look at the 10-year, I still see some possible shorts to wash out. I don't know. Hard to make sense of this to me. Obviously, my overall read was wrong because the dollar demand, man. I think that one, that it feels bad, but I think that's kind of a situation where there's just, you know, I did not have enough information and there's no way that I would be able to see that one, you know, other than just manage it and take the loss early. Not a lot of news hitting the markets today either. Like with my Twitter, I haven't seen anything for the past 5 minutes. I can see the inside bid at 09 still trying to stack it up. Haven't seen anything like that on the ask. Those are going to happen. Remember, your first trade, it was good for 7 ticks at one point, so I wouldn't consider that a failure in analysis. Right. It's the first trade. Well, I think that in both of these, I can do better on execution, right? The first trade, the execution on the exit was wrong. I should not let it go come that far back. So I need to figure out how big of a swing am I willing to take here. 1, 2, 3, 4. It came back down. Maybe I should get out there. You know, I think that's probably what I should have done, is gotten out at 02. Well, I mean, that would have been the best. I don't know if tactically I could do that. I have to go back and rewatch the video, but maybe I could get out there. Okay. And then this one, I don't know if I consider that really an actual signal. I mean, you could have taken it short and taken 2 off of it, but maybe if you had taken it, I think you should get back out. This one I think was good. and it just failed, you know? Every time I check his P&L is 0. Yeah, so I added that on there because I thought that maybe it would cause more interest if people saw something there. But there's no way for me to actually insert it into Jigsaw. It's a text file. So if I go and I change the P&L on my text file, then I show something. But we're not trading live today. By the way, where is my little window? Did I close it? It looks like I did. Somehow it got closed. If we look at what I actually did today, it's not good. It's that one. That one should have been a good winner, but we screwed it up. That one was just a fail, but I would have liked that to have been only 2 and not 3. But we're trading something new. Kind of mistakes like that are, should be expected, really. Well, now we're getting pretty close to the evening. I'm interested to see what's going to happen here. And I'm surprised that we can come all the way back up to even the price from before the news. From the top to the bottom and right back to the top again like yesterday. Not quite sure what you mean by that. Just buy ZN and come back in September? Maybe. I really want to try this new kind of so what's happened is I've developed my own kind of indicator based on level 2, and it identifies important areas for us. It doesn't just always go one way, but based on context, you can figure some things out. So we're going to just try trading it, and every time we get something. So what we're getting right here, I think, is something. Oh, you're right. Well, Lucas, what I didn't understand was why you said back to the top again like yesterday, because yesterday was basically like they moved up a little bit and then they just got killed. And they ended up down, 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 down. What are you saying? Maybe that that we're going to have a really strong move up, kind of like how yesterday we had a strong move down after the initial head fake. Okay, so it is giving me something here, but the actual orders coming through here don't seem to support it. If you could see the most dominant algo in our markets, would you really want to? Well, I think I would want to see it, but I don't think that I would want to make my decisions based on it. No. Because that algo is probably just trying to screw you up. Right? I don't think that what I'm looking at, though, is an algo. I think that or at least I'm not trying to see an algo. Obviously, algos are going to do stuff. But I believe that what I'm seeing is when all of the retail traders get perked up by something. Hmm. I mean, this is the place for it based on the swings, and it is giving me a signal. But that iceberg is holding, and there's still an iceberg, and I'm not seeing any real indication that the sellers are gonna come in here. Okay. Our markets are dominated by various agos, mice, clickers. Our dinosaurs maybe don't know it. Nah. The thing that I find interesting is the stuff that I can see that seems to be algorithms to me just looks like noise to me. What was that last one? Being a dinosaur doesn't necessitate doing it wrong. That's a good point too. Lucas and Jurassic Park, they pretty much kill everything. Uh, okay. No, I forgot about the E-mini. I keep doing that. Well, the E-mini, right out the gate, they're trying to sell it. Strengthening dollar means it means your equities aren't worth as much, and they go down. I'm not saying you can't trade, but be wise about who your stiffest competition is. Well, just smart, yeah. I think that the trade selection here is really important, right? I don't think that I can, every time that I get one of these, that I can take it and be profitable. Probably, I probably would be break even at best based on the stats that I've collected so far. I have to get better than that. Makes sense. but it does give us important signals and notifies us notifies us about areas that are important that I wasn't noticing before. And I'm hoping that in addition to the things that I was already doing, because I was already doing pretty okay depending on the type of action that it was. So I'm hoping that all of that, that just kind of gives me that additional little thing that I need to keep profits and stuff. That's why it's so frustrating to me that they didn't give a signal at the bottom there, because I was hoping I took that short just based on the price action. And the whole idea here was that I would get a signal down here and say, well, maybe it can go lower, but for now it's going to turn and I should get out. And it just didn't work that way this time. It's funny when you think about retail algorithmic trading, all these guys trying to program expert advisors to game the market and failing miserably because they forget about trading costs. Yeah. And if you start doing well, then you get hunted. If you have an algorithm, if it's really like an algorithm. Here's the thing about the algorithmic trading, if you're going to retail, because you can totally do it. And I've seen people that have had runs of success with it. But when you look at the large institutions, they change their algorithms like every 4 weeks. Not kidding. They're always changing it. And yeah, you want to come in and trade the same algorithm for 5 years and you expect to be profitable during that whole time? Probably not going to happen. And I also have a problem with something that really concerns me, right, that I'm seeing right now, is that I think we have all of these quants out there that really understand statistics and have access to really good data. And so they've got something that says, well, just like with this, like there's going to be a recession thing. It's like, okay, yeah, you have a lot of statistics and stuff that say that we might have a recession, but we have never been in a period with quantitative easing. We have never been in an area where rates have been statistically this low. Probability speaking, having a bull run this long and this far is absolutely unheard of. And so how can you sit down and say that my indicator that predicted past recessions is going to work on this recession? How do you know that? You can't just use data to say that. You have to have a market thesis too. And I don't think that a lot of these guys do. I think that most of these guys are just basing it based on back testing, It's all about the time value of money. Yes, it does work even with QE. Now, so one of the things, for instance, that I see, here's a really good example of this. Is that, have you ever heard, well, we haven't had a real pullback? I think we have had a real pullback now, but many times they would say, we haven't had a pullback of 10 to 20% in this market. Yeah. And when is the pullback going to happen? Or this has been a really strong bull market. We've never had a run this long. Well, when you look at it in the context, I think that both of those things are false, because during this whole time you've had an unprecedented amount of monetary easing holding the markets up. So you've probably absolutely had situations where we did have a market pullback. It just wasn't able to get to 10 to 20%. In a normal market, it would have gone to 10 to 20%, but it didn't because we have monetary easing. In fact, I say that times like, especially the Euro crisis, the Greek Euro crisis, you guys remember that whole thing? That was a bear market. It was a bear market. It was a market crash, essentially. And we don't consider it a bear market because there was monetary easing during that whole time holding the market up. But when you look at it from that perspective, we've actually had 3 or 4 bear markets within the past 10 years. Hey, catch you later, Aggo. We'll see how this E-mini thing works out, if they buy or not. Well, they are buying a little bit. And they did hit, you're only looking for 3018? I'm wondering, no thoughts about beyond that, huh? So it's still 737. I can even take a trade in the E-mini if I wanted to. Anyways, I'm just saying, to me, you go in and you back test something, and you just work it until it gives you something that has a really good probability and everything like that. You're really likely to just curve fit. And when the market changes, it's going to be useless. So I think that you have to start with an underlying theory about how markets work. You need to go in and say, well, I think that the market works this way, and I've noticed this behavior. And then you go in and you program everything. You set it up the way that you think that it should be behaving. And then you backtest it and you see that it gives you edge. Then you say, oh, it proved my theory right. And I think that that's going to be a much more reliable edge, right? And so my concern is that too many of the people that are making the algorithms right here don't really understand the market and don't have a real underlying theory about how markets work. And so when they are wrong, and they're going to be like dead wrong about something sooner or later, there's like no, what is the word? There's no contrarian voice out there to put some reality into the market. You know what I mean? Lower rates in time means deflation. No, I'm not quite sure what you're getting at, Null Monkey. I mean, rates have been low because inflation has been low. And that's another really key thing to look at, is that, we have 2 things going on. One, we have a negative carry, right? In fact, if you buy Euro bonds, right? If you buy that bond and you hold it to maturity, you lose money. And there are people out there that are doing that and are willing to lose money just to have them, which is crazy, right? It's crazy, right? But because you have a negative carry, even in the US Treasuries, because, we're at like 127 instead of below 100, right? Because of that negative carry, you are much more likely, as Janet Yellen said, you're much more likely to see inverted yield curves. Because in order for the rates to go higher, you're going to go, you got to flip around that par. And so in this kind of a situation, yield curve inverting might not be as significant. I'd also add, I don't think that we've inverted in the 2s and 10s. So I think that while there is a risk of a recession, I think that the percentage chance of it is extremely overstated. And all of the data that you've seen come in through this month backs that up. They're just taking short-term rates lower. This keeps the curve wider. You don't have inversion past 0. Yeah. I just think that people are looking at it like, every time that the yield curve inverts, that's when the recession comes soon after. And Treasuries are so different from any other time in history. I don't think that you can just sit down and use the same stats in the past to say that it's there, right? You might have to see a much deeper and much longer inversion in treasuries for that negative impact on the economy to come through. Unless central banks were really just like much more hawkish than they are. I guess what we're seeing today is another, ooh, okay, that was a strong take. They sold all 2,000 there. And they're putting asks on now. They did it at 0.95, they did it at 0.9. But the bidders held it there. But the sellers are definitely coming in and trying to hit it. Anyways, another good example here, slightly different subject, is like the volatility squeezes, right? All these guys are going out and selling volatility and all, carrying out through the same strategy. And then when it stops working and the volatility comes in, they just get slaughtered. And so we get these huge volatile moves that are way more volatile than they should be. ZN futures going down while the 10-year cash market going down. Someone buying ZN? You're going to have to be a lot less cryptic, dude. I don't have time for somebody who wants to come in and say something like really vague. I don't have the brain power while I'm trading to sit and try and figure out what you actually mean. I use VIX to hedge my Vega on short options, not to short volatility. Well, there you go. Well, a lot of people are just straight up shorting volatility. And so when the volatility comes in, it's way stronger than it should be. It's a real problem. That and all of the index funds too, right? It's just like the robots are just running amok. Would not do this if there were people in charge, because people can sit down and they can say, well, here's where this situation is different. And based on what I understand about markets, this is how that should affect the price. And we can price that thing in and you get a more accurate reading. He says, I'm sorry, I didn't think I was being critical. I'm just looking at the ZN and the cash yield percentage at the same time. Gotcha. Well, something I've keep in mind, I'm pretty sure that what has been happening that has pushed treasuries back up here is the currencies, right? And when it is the currencies that is driving things, you could see movement against what the orders are. In other words, all of the human traders might be saying, sell this. And well, I think that's exactly what happened, is all the human traders were saying sell this, but the banks want the dollar. And so the banks go out and buy the dollar. And when they pull the dollar up, the algorithms all see that the dollar pulled up and they will make ZN tick up no matter what to keep it in line. And so you'll get movement against the order flow. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be somebody buying ZN, you know? It's just the dollar's going to tick it up. FX leads bonds. Not always, but today it is, yes. How much are we getting from this? So this one was 5. Based on us getting 5 ticks, I mean, that's kind of in line with what the trend has been, but it's enough to make you think that maybe something has changed, you know? It sure seems to me that there's a lot more big interest on those down ticks. Like I'm not seeing those orders follow the bids up. That's why you can spread ZN against USD JPY. I've never heard of anybody doing that. That might be an interesting trade. I have to go and pull up a chart of that. But what would be the number of contracts that you would do on each leg? Or rather, what's the ratio that you would do on that one? Okay, so it is more than it is a bigger swing and a possible reversal. And I'm not. Oh, I am getting one, so I should take it. Oh no, wait, I'm getting one, but it might be a continuation. I think that my strategy dictates that if I get there, I should take some profits. Have a good weekend. Hey, thank you for stopping by. We want to talk a bit more where we understand each other a little bit better, huh? Because it sounds like you, at least you know what you're talking about and you have opinions, and that's always good. I think it's important that we have people in markets that have opinions, He says, no worries. Hey, thanks. I'll catch you later. Hopefully see you next week. It's going to be a good week next week. Well, not a good week. It's going to be a fun week next week. Either way. Who knows what the market's... I have no clue what the market's going to do next week. Oh, man. Just trying to think about... Not to keep you around, but to go on another thought now. Just thinking about how the FOMC is going to affect next week's markets kind of makes my head hurt. Because it's like... we already know what they're going to do, and everybody already has these expectations, but it's like one of the most anticipated meetings ever. Always seems like it's the most anticipated meeting ever, but man, this time it really, really seems like, whew. So I believe that this is going to be a continuation. Because I'm still seeing the offers push it. Previous close was at 07.5. Should get rid of that, by the way. Okay. So here's the VWAP. It looks to me like the offers are still trying to push it. E-mini is looking pretty bullish. Yeah, good luck. Thank you. See you next week. By the way, Uzi, did you ever make a trade? Yeah, it looks like a continuation to me. At that time, I actually saw some bids pull. Should be careful, though. We're in an area where you're going to start to see some support. It looks like that this one went into a range. No, I'm not focused today. I'm a poopy loser, a 0. Oh, I think that any time that you don't take a trade is, if you just didn't have the opportunity, then I think that's good. Okay, there wasn't offers following down that down ticket of 7.5. Even though the E-mini is really pushing here. Look at that. I was kind of wondering when algo. I'm really at this point. Oh man, we're gonna start getting into my feelings here. At this point, I'm kind of thinking like maybe I just don't want to trade the E-mini for a while because I feel like that I'm really excited about what I'm doing in Treasuries right now, and I have good hopes for it. Let's see. We'll see how it works out after a couple of weeks. But just looking at today, assuming that this one works out, I think that we could say that if I was better at it, that we could have had a profitable day, right? But so I'm kind of ignoring the E-mini now. But when Algo Lover left, I would kind of looked at it like, okay, well, he got his price, but I'm kind of wonder if they're going to keep going. And I'd say that move right there was pretty positive looking. How many is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hmm. Moved a bit there. Really makes you wonder what they do that for. 22.5. So way down here, he moved it from here to here. That's what happened. Yeah, probably an algo. So then it comes back to why would you write an algorithm to do that? Saving the spot in line, maybe? Is that just how far out you have to put it to get your spot in line? Troy Hastings, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm trading. We're trading the 10-year treasury. We're making money here, actually. Actually, we're not making money. I'm trading on Sim today. We're trying a new strategy. And so far, this is working pretty good. I do believe that this is going to end up being a continuation. That tick down No. Okay. So something got stacked at 08. They're not going to let it come out yet. Looked really promising there for a second at 07, though. I'm too stupid for this? Yeah, I wouldn't say that, dude. I have found, here's what makes a good trader. It is not having an above average IQ. Okay. That certainly helps. But I think that being humble and being willing to accept reality and then having dedication are far more reliable indications of whether somebody will be successful at trading. Like, we see a bunch of numbers there, but honestly, a lot of that is just there to look cool. If we're honest, I'm only looking at like really two things right now. One is I'm watching this white histogram to see a spike, which we're not getting yet. And then I'm looking these, well, I'll draw you a picture here. These inside prices right here. Okay. So I can see that there was somebody holding the market, but they pushed through him. So I was correct about it being a continuation. He says, okay, cool. I appreciate it. How old are you, Troy? So I wonder, when we get people on Twitch, they tend to be younger people, and that's good. I feel old. 34 makes me feel old. If this one goes for 10 or 12, I'm going to be super stoked. I'm 17. That's perfect, dude. Because here's the thing. Trading is all about getting the other guy to do the wrong thing. That's really what it's about. Well, I'm going 17 in 20 days. Okay, cool. So the way that they do that is they kind of take advantage of our better human nature. You know what I mean? So, they'll do something to make everybody get excited and want to buy it, and then they'll flip it around on you. And if you're an old guy like me, you kind of get habits and ways of looking at the world that are kind of ingrained, and, you really have to fight against yourself. But if you get started when you're young, really before 26, but man, starting at 17 is probably the perfect time to start. Then you can train your brain to see the markets the right way, and you can be a lot more successful. Now, of course, it's still a hard road, man. Trading is the hardest thing you could ever do. Try to become successful at trading. But if you start when you're young, you can have so much better of a chance. And if you are successful, you'll be so much more successful. Like me, it's hard for me to put on a whole lot of risk because I have a house and a family and all these sorts of things, right? But if you're 17, you could save up $1,000 or so, put it into an account and trade micro futures for a few weeks, and if you get good at it and you stick with it, by the time you're 21, you could be pretty good at it, and then by the time you're 30, you could be a millionaire. Because you have nothing to lose. So I always like it when I see young people come in, and so I stream on multiple platforms, but when I see somebody say something on Twitch, I always have to stop and say, hey, here's the deal. You want to be a millionaire? Huh? IQ says he followed Uzi's game plan. Where was it that Uzi was saying? Oh, you sold it at 19. Is that where I sold it at? No. I sold it before that. I sold it at what would have been 23. Okay. Well, that's my exit right there. Come on. Squeeze them a little harder, please. Ka-ching. Okay. Well, all in all, how much did I actually make? The Jigsaw profit window is not updating it correctly, but it's profitable. I'm in La La Land. You know what, Uzi? It's Friday. Like, I don't know. Now that we've gotten back to this 05 half, and remember that 05 half was kind of an area where there was a lot of struggle, right? Or remember when Lucas came in and was saying, I've been a little confused about what's going on right here. So, and then no surprise to me that you got the iceberg and the squeeze at 06. So let's put that in there. This one was a continuation. This one, if we took it at 10, so 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, and it only went, did it go, it actually did take 2 against us. And 08 here, where we got the continuation. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably not. We're not going to put in 5. You can say 4 and 1. Anyways, my point was that, it's Friday, so it might be good. It might be a good thing at this point. And in fact, I would dare say that even after the 127, I kind of, or not 127, when we hit 24 in ZV, I kind of feel like that this trade that we've had since then is kind of rebalancing and not necessarily a new trade. I could be wrong about that. They might just like careen down there and make a new low or something. But I kind of feel like we're getting to the point where opportunity is diminishing. Ding ding. By the way, well, first of all, I'll like you. Congratulations on that good trade. But I also have to say, you commented on my video about books yesterday, and I really appreciate it. It really helps out. And you gave a good book recommendation. So if you guys haven't watched that video and left a comment about what your favorite trading book is, I think that it would really help new traders. You go and leave a comment on there, because if we could go in and have dozens of book recommendations, that could be the spot that could be like the holy grail of book recommendations. That's what I would like it to be. So if you haven't gone and left a book recommendation, I'd appreciate it if you go and do that. And I'm sure that the new guys that end up making millions of dollars would also appreciate your recommendation. I feel like I'm missing something. Well, we still got 30 minutes left, but there was something I wanted to talk about. I don't remember what it was. We should talk politics, but I don't know. Oh, you know what? I tell you what it was that I was thinking about the other day. So I was reading this thing where they were talking about YouTube algorithms and things like that. And one of these guys pointed out that conservatives are more likely to watch a long video. And that's really advantageous to YouTubers, and that's maybe why there's so many conservatives on YouTube. So I started looking into my stats, and you know what I found on my stats? Andrew Yang supporters are not very profitable. So like I was looking through my political videos and seeing what the CPM was on all of them. And granted, those videos don't have a ton of views, but they actually do tend to get more views than my trading videos. And like the Bernie Sanders video, I got like 13 CPM from it, $13 CPM. But the Andrew Yang one was only like $6. And on average on my trading videos, I get 15 to 30. Now the videos don't get a whole lot of views, and when you actually add it all up, and the amount of money that you make is like nothing. You know, like maybe you might get one check a year from Google from it. But I just thought it was interesting that it sure seems to bear out the fact that the more radical left that your target audience is, the less money you can make on YouTube because they don't buy things. Isn't that interesting? I think, though, we need to make more trading videos. And I think that we need to make videos like, so here's the next thing that I want to try. And you guys, if you have any thoughts, you can tell me, like any ideas. Tell me what you think. But, you know, most of the target that we have has been trading. And there's a couple of things that I still want to make about trading. Like I want to make a video about technical analysis. So I think that that's one that would interest people. And I think that I have a unique view on it that of course I think is correct, but that I think would be really useful to a lot of people. Because to me, technical analysis is not useless. It's very useful. It's just, it can't be your whole strategy, right? So I want to make, there's a couple of videos like that, but then I think what we should be doing is we should be trying to get a more general audience. Like, I'm not looking for regular people to come in and be, you know, watching the stream with us. Of course, that would be silly. I think it's best to have a small community where we can keep track of everybody and make sure that everybody gets their comments acknowledged. And, you know, when it's too many people, then it just becomes noise, right? But I think that it can kind of be like, oh, well, okay, well, we're the scalpers and we're the ones that are like most acquainted with the price action and stuff. What are some things that we can see about this market that would be useful information to regular people? You know? Like, so like one example or one video that I think I could do, and really the only one that I've thought about so far, but like, hey, what is going on with interest rates right now in general? If I'm looking to buy a house, you know, what do I need to know about the price action of interest rates right now? You know, and that could drag in a little bit larger of an audience, and help the community without, you know, creating a bunch of noise in live chat too. You know what I mean? Oh, what did Uzi say here? I missed the comment. I can't say I'm mad someone else followed my game plan and made money. I suppose I could be mad at myself for being an airhead today and farting around. So are you saying you really should have taken it there when we were at the, well, what was the game plan? I have to scroll back up and see what he said. Uzi actually said a couple of things that I missed. When ZB can't make it past 16, then rotation down and maybe extension to 23 and 24 area. IB high at 11 would be a good spot for a shot, but the buyers still seem willing to me, so I don't know. I'm just happy this one worked out. You know what is really crazy to me? Well, not really crazy to me, but I mean, look at it. Bada boom. Literally one tick off. This side we were 2 ticks off because the signal came a little bit early. My game plan was to buy above the IB and only look to sell at 154.27. We made it to 25 and it was rejected. The offer started to stack up and I should have sold it. I got you. Okay. Well, right now it's kind of starting to look like they might only make 3 or 4 ticks and then move down for another rotation lower. I'm getting another signal. I don't think I want to take another one just because I want to feel good about myself. I also could have bought the breakout above IB for 10 ticks. All of it met my criteria, but again, I'm kind of in la la land today. I get you. You know what? It's been a long and exhausting week, right? Sometimes this is something else I've been looking at, and another thing that I want to make a video about. But I was watching a video from some other guy. I don't really know who he was. He looked like he was in the photography field, though. I tell you what, it's interesting that some of the best YouTubers out there have to do with photography. I guess it's because they're teaching everybody else how to do stuff on YouTube. But anyways, he was talking about managing your mental energy. I miss the uptrend was like deer in headlights syndrome. Bah. I think all of us did. You know what? Like when I look at the delta on this thing, okay, and then the 10-year here. Okay, here's the news. Here's the move down. This looks like covering. And then from here, it looks like it was fighting. This kind of just got pushed up by the dollar. I think that retail lost a ton of money on that. And then at this point, it looks like probably a couple of us made some money on this sort of a thing. But it looked like this whole thing came down. The cumulative delta is really interesting today. Is your YouTube channel the same name as your Twitch name? Yes, it's Speculator Seth. In fact, I believe, and if it's not, then I should come over here and change it. But I believe that here on Twitch, if you scroll down, you will get a link. Oh, I guess I don't have a link to the YouTube. But yeah, this is just Speculator Seth. I should add that. Anyways, so the nice thing is if you go on YouTube, you can see basically like every day for the past 2 years now, I think. And the advantage of that when you're starting out, like the software is expensive and things like that. And you don't want to trade live, or maybe you want more time, more markets to trade. Then you can come over here and you can watch the video. Just mute it. So you don't have to hear what I'm thinking, so that won't flavor your opinion, maybe, if you want to do it that way. And, ignore the entries that I take. And then you can watch that order flow. Because basically the way this works, Troy, is, I'll explain the columns to you really quick. This blue column is people with standing orders to buy. And this red column is people with standing orders to sell. And then these 2 columns on the inside are market orders hitting into that, right? So here, these guys are looking to sell. Here are the market orders that bought into it. So far, 900 people have bought, but there's still 1,800 looking to sell. Oh, sorry, you're right. Let me restart. Blue is limit buy orders. Red is limit sell orders, right? So 900 people have bought into 07. And there's still almost 2,000 on the offer. Anytime over 2,000 is pretty solid. It's very rare that they will just buy up 2,000 contracts all at once. Okay. Usually what will happen is this will pull to 1,500 or 500, and then maybe they'll be able to tick up, right? When they buy all of these contracts, so if somebody bought 2,000, then that would completely disappear and there would be a gap here. And then what happens is almost immediately somebody will bid at 07, and that's how price ticks up. You're explaining a 3H on it, yeah. So that's basically all that we're watching is the balance between, market orders and limit orders, because the buys and sells are always equal, right? Okay, so see, there's a tick up. Okay, they put 800 on the bid. Once they get over to 1,000, okay, so that might hold for a little bit. You know, that's this sort of thing. You miss the important columns pulling stacking. Yeah, well, you know what? So what I think what he's referring to is on Jigsaw you can show another column that shows how many orders have stacked or pulled on the level 2 on these bids and offers. But what I do instead is I've got this thing down here, and I have the little thing that gives me a sound, and that tells me if they're aggressively stacking or pulling on the bid or the offer. So when it was pushing down, what I noticed was that as they pushed down, every time that it ticked down, there would be like 500 on the offer following it. And then when we came into that kind of flat area around 08, it disappeared. And I knew that that was a possible continuation. So I held out, and that time it turned out. And then when they started ticking down at 07.5, it started showing up again. So I held it until I got to where other people started to respond. And then all of a sudden I started seeing, okay, lots of people are interested, are putting orders in now that it's reached this 06 area. And because, we're past the news, we're starting to turn into more of a double-sided market, it's probably likely to stop there, and it did. So that's how I do it, right? So the way that you learn is basically you sit and you watch this thing for a really fucking long time. Every day. You watch it every day for 3 years, and then you might be okay. That's why I say it's like one of the hardest things you ever do. Ooh, that was pretty... so did you see they sold almost 2,800 there at 06 all at once? That's a very aggressive sell. And I can see... they stacked on the ask at 07, but I'm not seeing the offer follow down. So it's unclear to me if they're gonna continue through here or not. This one might be more limited, but let's see how it goes. It does seem to have attracted some more sellers. E-mini continues to skid up along the highs, so that probably could push us down. For me, when I see 3 to 4 levels of pulling, stacking, the market is going to go there. Yeah, yeah. So yesterday, man, that was a really good example of that yesterday. Remember when there was those spots where it was like, normally you'll get that was pretty aggressive there. There you go. So it did follow through. And we got all of that just based off of that one level being sold really aggressively. But normally you get this sort of thing right here, right? There'll be maybe 2 or 3 prices out there, will be more out there. But yesterday it was like, this price right here would be less than, how much was being bid at 03.5 would be less than what was bid at 04 and 03. And whenever that happened, they just rushed right down through it. Man, it was like the market makers saw the hole and just went for it. It was quite fun to watch, other than that I thought that we were going to continue to... I was a little bit confused at first as to why it was moving the way it was. What I want to do is I want to do something like... hopefully, I don't think I'm going to have time to do it this weekend. Maybe we might have some time on stream. Like, if we come out next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think we should have a pretty active market, but if it's really dead, then maybe we will program this. I would like to see Not based on the overall level 2 that's placed at any one place, but how many times is it changing there? I want to see, like, if some retail guy is just sitting here and putting an order on and then pulling it and right clicking that over and over and over again, then that would like get highlighted. Oh, IQ says, so how do you see that on your indicator? So the way that I do it is, one, if it's a big pull, then this will tell me the price that it happened at, right? And that's normally the case. Like the ones that I saw yesterday, I could see that at that price, somebody had pulled 500. Thanks, man. I hope you have a good day. Hey, thank you for coming in. I think I might go do the research and learn a little bit. Yeah, I have like a getting started video on my YouTube. So I would start there and you can see, just warning you, it's not for everybody. But, if it is for you, then it can be really rewarding. So, anyways, I was answering IQ's question here. So the first thing is that I'll see it on my level 2 tape thing, right? The next thing is that I'm kind of more interested when a lot of people are doing it, right? Like if one person, if like a guy pulls his order and it's like a 50 lot or something, then to me it's like, okay, whatever, right? But if all of a sudden a bunch of people are moving orders, those are the spots that I look for. So this indicator will point that out to me that, okay, a lot of people are doing something here now. And then at that point, I just have to look at it visually. And usually I can sit down and say, okay, it does actually seem like this price, like we had this move down here. Okay. There's a lot more at 04, 03 half than there was before. And if we look at the Vista chart, you can kind of see the Vista chart showing that a little bit. So I think it would be nice to just have the stacking and pulling columns on here, but I just don't have enough room on my screen for that. And when I had it, I didn't find it useful. Maybe now I would. Most of the time, though, when I looked at that, it looked like noise to me. Well, let's go and do the Patreon notes here. Come in here and grab that link. There we go. We'll post that. What was I thinking? Oh yeah. So if you guys haven't, or if you're new and you haven't checked out the Patreon, go and check it out, because even if you're not a subscriber, you can still see last week's posts. And if you're in cryptocurrencies, I would highly recommend it. I think it's really important information. What's Bitcoin doing today, by the way? We had big buy yesterday. They came in and saved it again, and they're already selling it back. I have to say, it really, the price action just looks incredibly negative to me in Bitcoin. And whoever those guys are that are buying have got to feel nervous. Like if it was me, I would be looking at ways to hedge this and make money taking it the other way. But I don't think there's any real way to predict what they're going to do, is there? Let's wait until the end of the month to see what they do. Anyways, I was going to say, I always forget to give a shout out to the Patreons, but we've got like 23 Patreons, and they've been with us for over a year. Like, we just have the most incredibly dedicated fan base, which is just awesome. And, you know, I think that they also, you know, they make money off of it, so good for them. Bum, bum, bum. I've made a little bit off of cryptocurrencies this year, but not really a whole lot because I just haven't been in on this buy. I'm just not a believer. Dash. Oh, I do have one other thing. Let's see here. Then we'll shut it down. ES 20 tick swing time for a pullback. So have you found the swings to be really reliable in ES? Is that maybe something that I should be trying to use to try and pick my entries with? Think that would help? 20 point. Oh, that's far. Okay, so there's that. Oh, we need to, I haven't been updating the date on the dashboard correctly lately, and I should do that before we shut it down. That would help. 26. I think the historical view of swing lengths can be helpful in the very least in approximating. Well, that's certainly true in treasuries, right? Like, I really used that on this, didn't I? When it came, I guess it didn't consider that to be a swing. I think I would prefer that it did show me that as a swing, but that's okay. When I knew that when this came down and it was like 8 ticks, that there was a possibility of a reversal, and sure enough, it did. Now this one came in here. This move back is pretty was pretty out of nowhere, so I don't think I could take. Now this right here, did you see all these orders come in here? I'm going to take a picture of that and post it on Twitter. I wish I had an easier way to get images onto Twitter, because it won't let me just paste it in there. Maybe if I do it from the really the basic one. Nope, that's not the right window. Aha, I can. Where was it that it showed up at? It was at 4.5. 127.04.5. Let's Let's do it with a little highlight, shall we? Tweet, tweet. Okay. Peters says, at Seth, we are at S&P 3020 points. Is now only a 0.6% move. Treasuries, yes, full point swings are important. Interesting. Swings can narrow for a period of time, needed to give fundamentals attention, always with the risk of somebody saying something. Okay, I getcha. I do kind of like, I think I might keep my chart like this. With the swing on there and just showing me how big the swings are, because it gives me a good view, right? Like now I know, okay, on the long swings we're moving like 8 to 12, and the short swings we're moving 4. I'm wondering, does this swing indicator have something to give me a little bit of margin on the top and bottom? Text offset volume. I think that kind of changes where it posts, but I don't think that it makes the chart zoom in. I might need to make a change to his indicator to do that, which wouldn't be too hard. Anyways, okay, so this weekend I am finally getting The Last of the Grass. So that will finally be done with. And then we get to start on another project, which I will tell you guys about on Monday. It's a pretty big deal. I'm not just trying to hype you guys up. Like, I know it could just be hype and like, but no, I'm going to tell you something on Monday. It's not going to affect anything here, right? So we're just going to be still doing our thing. But there's something else going on that I think you guys are going to be really interested in. That's a pretty big deal. So, but it's going to be like a big, huge week next week with all, we got the debates and we got the FOMC meeting next week. It's going to be a crazy week. But I figured that we could start the week out hype by sharing that piece of news with you then. So, I think I'll tell you guys like around 7 o'clock, when we get into that quiet 7 to 7:30 time period, I'll show you guys, on Monday. So make sure you're around then, huh? Because, I'm super excited to tell you guys, and I think you'll be excited too. It's not anything related to trading again, but still you can be excited. So, we ain't got anything else here. Well, we are getting another signal. That might be a continuation signal, though. We shall see. It seems like that the big boys stepped in here. Let's see what happens. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys all. If you enjoyed today's video, give that a like. I think we should all give today's video a like to make sure that the day that I actually traded, and we did make a little bit, and we could have done really well if I was better at this. But I think so far this looks promising, don't you think? I think so. So we'll see. Peter says, I like quarters / halves in ES. You mean like... Okay. Yep, I think that is it. So I will see you guys next week. Give us a like. And yes, stay profitable, friends.